And then the last thing I want to talk about during this episode is I wanted to talk about the meta, the current meta of the game. Okay, so currently there's so many different bosses and levels to this game. We're going from, we just got released the Willstones, Varishilla, and a lot of the higher end players are just focused on building what I call just building up their army, or what some others call bossing mules or their alts, just to getting them enough gear to do as much content as possible. Okay, so right now the highest tier obviously is getting multiple characters on Varishilla. I think the higher end players are doing that. But then for me right now, for a lot of us, we're just trying to get into the Willstones, as many will clears as possible and as many alts as possible, because I think that is just huge gains right now. Every 3 weeks, you're going to get a Arachno Stone. And right now in our server, that's going for about 20 bill. And when it first came out, it was going for 25 to 30 bill. It was insane. 3 weeks, just every character that was doing it was making, selling these stones instantly, because it creates arcane gear, right? So one of the things that I'm always trying to get ahead of and trying to help people take advantage of is getting into these bosses, whether it's doing solo content, right? Up until this point, the current meta, solo Damien, even just doing that, if you can't find a team, has its rewards, right? So like in my previous video, I talked about how to do all the solo content with my, mid-game bossing mules on my Wind Archer, right? I was at like a sub 20 mil cap. I was about like 120, 150k HP on my Wind Archer, able to do solo Damien at least weekly. And that just over time just helped me build my, funding. Okay, but now people now are trying to do that for all types of bosses, right? And so I want to talk about how you guys, like I talked about how to gear it up in my previous video, but now I want to talk about what classes are the best ones, right? The meta currently is, there's all these alts and bossing mules, the best ones and the ones that you don't really need to pour a ton of resources into, that will still be able to join teams with lower DPS at lower gear because of some of the support and party skills that they have available to help the team. Because at the end of the day, you have to understand that DPS is one thing, but every player on the team, it's a 10-man team, can play a role. And if your role isn't DPS, if you can find a way to support those DPS to help the carries do their thing, and for you to just make it easier for them to do their DPS, everyone wins, right? They're going to want you in their party. They're going to want you. They're going to need you, make life a lot easier for them. So there's really 4 classes that are kind of the big 4 classes that everyone is making alts for, bossing mules for, to just make minimum requirements on gear, but to clear bosses. Okay, so the first class. All right, so my big 4. I'm going to start with number 4, because I think that this class is forever going to stand the test of time. Okay, and that is the Bishop. The Bishop. Very, very, like, it's just a support class, right? It has skills like Benediction, it has skills like Shell, Holy Shell, that are just great for Will in phase 3. They actually have good bursts now with their V4 that allows them to get that 2% pretty easily. And then obviously they can change between Righteous in RI, whatever it's called, Righteous in, I don't even know, RI, to go from support to DPS, which really allows them to, in certain situations, to just be a full-on party healing monster with Fountain, with Angel Ray healing the team, with Peacemaker healing the team, and just like even their Angel of Balance can be switched into healing type of support if they wanted to. I think it's Angel of Vengeance, one of their support ability. And then Shell also is allowed does do healing on its own. And then obviously they have their own heal skill in general, which is on a 5-second cooldown. So they have a lot of options, right, to help the team survive. Ethereal Form is great for altars as well. And Damien and Will, they're just like, without a Bishop, it just makes life so much harder. Without Heaven's Door, without Shell and Benediction, it just makes it so that there's just less wiggle room. Without Fountain too. So Bishops are not as necessary as they used to be, especially like I've run a few will teams without bishops. Like Damien is pretty doable without bishops as well. Even Varys you really don't need bishops. They help, but it's not like a huge need as they used to be. Maybe in the near future, when cap gets so high, they'll be back with benediction and all the final damage buffs that they give, like in PC. But as of right now, they're fourth in my opinion, and I think some could argue they're even 2 or 3. So that's where I have them. They're still a very, very insanely good bossing mule that I think is just a little bit harder to survive and do solo content in comparison to the big 3. Okay, the top 3. And so number 3, I think a lot of people would have them as number 2, but I have them as number 3, and that's the Phantom. Phantom, for some reason, has so much base HP that I swear they can have the least amount of gear and have the most HP. It's just insane, even more than some warriors. And the fact that they can steal skills, it just gives them so much flexibility. They are the jack of all trades class and forever will be, as far as they can steal skills like monkey magic, meditation for HP or for damage or for both. They can take they can take Holy Shell from bishops. They can take Dark Sights from thieves. They can take Time Leap, Paladin res, Bishop res if they want to. They take Sacral from Paladins. They just have so many different options utility wise. Even Chains of Hell from Dual Blade for an extra iframe. Just so many like skills, routes that they can take based on the situation and based on what their team needs, their team composition needs, right? If you don't have a bishop, they can steal all the skills necessary. They can even steal heal and fountain, which their heal is actually, in my opinion, just as good or probably better than bishops because you don't have to switch to, you can just use it, spam it really. And their damage is very good enough. No clone classes, very easy for them to cap their V skills, so they can do the 2% no problem. Attack on the move with melee, and just Phantoms are so good in this game. Even though Sacro got nerfed, even though some of their stolen skills got nerfed a bit, they're still very, very good. And at the highest level, in Will and Damien, they can do it all for you as a bossing mule. And if you die as a Phantom, I think they even have their own Heaven's Door as well still. So, I mean, it is so hard for Phantoms to die. And it's very easy for them to be do enough DPS and just like they can change skills within Will, which is absurd. They can take Fountain in phase 1 and phase 2 if you need it, and then switch to Shell for phase 3 and just, again, be that jack of all trades, whatever you need as far as getting the job done to get the clear. So Phantoms, number 3, gosh, they're such a good class. It's pretty insane what they can do. But then number 2, I think a lot of people just don't play this class because it's so hard, is Sia. Now they are in my opinion, the kings of the best support. Like we have Warren in our main team, and I think people still don't realize how much he is covering up the mistakes that people make and how much he's keeping the team alive and afloat when we're like a half second late on calling something out, or we're in a bad spot, or aggro changes, or things hit the fan. Sia can solve all of those issues and kind of get us back on track. They have and especially with the fair trade buff now or change, that their hourglass is 1, right, which is a built-in Heaven's Door. They have their hat and cup skills, which is basically a party-wide iframe, and they can also, another one is they can immune 3 attacks, the next 3 attacks, which used to be fair trade ticks. But now that fair trade is nerfed, or fair trade is buffed, and it doesn't even do tick damage, it's even more insane. It's actually going to block the three real attacks, which, I mean, people don't even know about. And if you play it right, it can just save the game. Like Warren is in our Will team. We have no bishop. We have no bishop at all, and he just does it all. Like literally just does it all. And that is our best team because single-handedly it just saves lives. And he's also aggro and does DPS. So Sia's are great as well because their DPS is pretty good still. I think it's gotten better. Their burst is in a smaller time frame, so they can actually maximize it. But also they don't have clones. They have high skill percent, so it's very easy for them to cap with less gear. They have ethereal form, obviously, but they just have so many options. I think they're one of the best solo classes as well because they can just breeze through mechanics, right? They can just not die, right? They can just do so many different things and immune so many different skills that just allows them and the party to do whatever they need to do to survive. So I think Sia, the hard part is that it's extremely, extremely hard to play, and people like, especially compared to like a bishop's pretty hard to master, kind of very simple to do bare bones, do minimum, but to be like master it really takes a little bit of skill. Phantoms, pretty straightforward. Like there's a lot of buttons, but they have a lot of wiggle room and room for error. Sia's, like if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know what the boss is doing, or like when altars is coming up, or when a certain skill is coming up, like an arc screen crack, or certain skills that can kill the boss, you kind of are not really playing Sia to the fullest potential, right? Which makes it very challenging and very hard to, for people to want to invest in. But trust me, if you are a great player and you look for a challenge that's just that can adapt to any sort of situation, Sia is insane. And we just don't see them a lot because they're so hard to play and master. So, but I think Sia should get a lot of love bossing Mules. And trust me, the people that know and see Sia's alts, they're picking them up because they can just, like, they would take a Sia over pretty much any class. Like, again, second best bossing Mule in my opinion for good reason. They are absolutely hard to find, but when you find a good one, you want to hold on to them. And then the best bossing Mule class, I mean, you probably guessed it, is the Paladin. And I think there's so many different reasons. Like I mentioned, the HP, for one, it's a warrior. They have built-in HP percent, impenetrable skin. Max gives you even more HP percent. They're warriors. They're tanky. They literally have a heal that has no cooldown that you can, if you're on altars, probably the best altar class, because you can literally just spam your heal and survive through the altar ticks orbs. It's just insane. Okay, what paladins can do as just altar duty, right? And you don't really see it from my point of view because I'm DPS. I'm kind of one of the better DPS on the team. But if I was on altars, like I've played alt paladins before with like 150k HP, like 160k HP, and just spamming the heal skill right here. Like this is such a broken skill. I think people like, yes, Sacro. Everyone knows about Sacro, okay? 30 seconds on, 90 seconds cooldown. What makes it OP is you can send it to your bonded person, right? Which is why, like, if you want to be in a team and you want like be a paladin, because your aggro, your top DPS will love you, right? Will love you. They can take as many paladins as they want, right? Because they're giving one final damage to this bonded person, so they can get up to 20% final damage for half the fight. And then they can get Sacro, so they can be immune for 30 seconds. And it's just like they have combat order, so it's a better version of decent combat order. So you can switch up your decent skills for that. They have single res, but like everyone knows about Sacro and Divine Echo, okay? But I think sneaky, insanely good skill is this HP recovery, just as what it says. 50% max recovery, min 10%. So basically what it means is the first heal within this 10-second is 50%. Then it's go down to 40 the second time you use it, 30, 20, and then 10. And then after 10 seconds, it's going to reset back up to 50. So basically, if you're on altars and you're dying, just spam the crap out of this skill. You're going to get 50% heals, 40% heals, 30% heals. And by the time the altar gauge is filled, it's going to be well within 10 seconds. And even if you spam it to 10%, it's still a huge heal for yourself. You are going to have such a hard time dying because it's a fast skill to use. Like, watch this. Let's see. Like, look at those heals. Look how fast those heal ticks are. Like 30k, 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 30k. But like, when you spam it, there's no cooldown. So you can just spam the crap out of it. Insane, right? So, I mean, besides the fact that they have so many support skills, they have arguably one of the best bursts in the game. So 2% is not an issue as long as you know how to do damage, right? They have impenetrable skin, they have sacral, they have single res, which is honestly, I think, the best res in the game now because it's better than bishop res because you can time leap it and it's on a 60% cooldown. So like, yeah, multiple paladins. Like if there's any class that you want multiple of, you want 2 of, it's going to be a paladin. Because like you can literally have multiple paladin reses, you can have multiple sacrals, you can have like just so much utility that paladins should never ever die. For one, they should honestly, like, they require the least amount of funding to do 2% damage, and they just have some arguably the most utility with sacral, paladin res, combat order, like all of the above, bonding, the echo. Like your DPS, like your top DPS are gonna love paladin. So that's number one, and their rotation is simple, very very simple. It's not like Sia. It's not like where there's all these different combos you have to do. It's not like Phantom where you have all these buttons and presets you have to micromanage. It's literally so simple. And I think that's what turns people away because it's so boring. But honestly, for a bossing mule, that's exactly what you want, right? You want to invest the least amount and have to think the least. So I would recommend, paladins, number one, by a lot, in my opinion. And if anyone sees paladins out there, they're taking them. And so Paladin, Sia, Phantom, Bishop, the big 4, just provide so much besides DPS that I think that's exactly what you want in a bossing mule. And the nice thing is if you're doing solo content, they're still the best options as far as solo content, surviving on their own, doing damage on their own. It's just, they're big 4 by kind of a wide margin, in my opinion. But I'm curious of what you guys think on like how you rank these, what you have as 5th, what other options you think that I didn't mention maybe that are very good bossing mules. But yeah, let me know in the comments. But this is kind of what the meta is right now. It's all about quantity, right? It's all about how many characters you can get doing every single boss. How much you can invest, the minimum amount you can invest is 2% or 4% to damage, to survive, below maintenance, to help your team clear, to get those clears on a weekly basis. Whether it's Lotus, Damien, all the way up to Will, Varus Hero, it's just, that is the name of the game. It's never going to end. Okay? It's never going to end. And so I think once you understand that, it just like you can just multiply your resources and multiply your gains and your progress. So hope this helps you guys. With all the bossing that's coming up next, there's just going to be even more and more opportunities for you to do so, to get these bossing mules. Even with the hyper event, the 1+4, like I'm planning on getting my bishop on my Demon Slayer account from 200 to 220 so I can get another ult with enough arcane force, arcane power, and just enough symbols to mule, right? To get on the same account. So honestly, for my paladin, I might do the same, but it's just exciting regardless, right? You want to take advantage of these events, take advantage of the EXP curve, all these things in order to grow your army, grow your portfolio, and just take advantage of what the game has to offer. So I hope this helps you guys. Really, thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll see you guys next time.